2016. But ladies and gentlemen, let me continue and state that it is mind-boggling that among all the humanitarian agencies in Ghana and the world, it was NAM1, a fraudster, that our First Lady chose to partner with. Again, it is worthy of note that in the last 2 years, Nana Appiah-Mensah has enjoyed full state honors, as we have seen him with armed police escort at public gatherings on countless occasions. We'll show you some pictures very soon. Now, show me the pictures before the video. Show me the pictures before the video. Ladies and gentlemen, not even members of parliament and ministers of state enjoy the kind of security detail that was accorded NAM1 by this government. Just look at it. Look at their helmets. Look at the accoutrements they are wielding. Are they going to war? Do you even see such armed police escort with our vice president or president? Yet, this was a man. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very serious matter. You see, where in the world have you seen a man who is under investigation by the central bank and who has been declared by the central bank as engaging in illegal business being given these privileges, by the state? This kind of security protocol, where in the world, except Akufo Addo's Ghana? You can never see this, not even in the banana republics of the world. You can't see this anywhere. Need we add that these overt actions of the government propped up NAM1's acceptability and encourage more citizens to invest in men's gold? Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it was these public acts of endorsement of NAM1 and men's gold by the president and his appointees that encouraged a lot of innocent citizens to invest with men's gold. The fact remains, this is very important, the fact remains that before the MPP assumed office in 2017, Men's Bank ending with a K and Men's Bank ending with a C were small schemes and quite unknown. This entity later became Men's Gold with several wings under this government. As a result of official state enablement, the clientele base of the company grew exponentially within the last 2 years. Information available to us, ladies and gentlemen of the press, suggests that the company acquired about 90% of its current clientele between 2017 and 2018. And this fact has been corroborated by the customers and staff of Men's Gold. I have the press statement of the cost of the staff of Men's Gold with me here. If you doubt this, after the press conference, you can see me. I will give you a free copy, where the staff of Men's Gold themselves, led by their corporate affairs manager, makes the point that these acts of government, this is not something coming from the NDC, this is the corporate affairs manager of Men's Gold, saying that these acts of endorsement, advertisement, and promotion by the state led to an exponential expansion in their clientele base. So when you see some of our brothers from the MPP saying that, oh, Men's Gold started during the NDC, and ask them that during the NDC, did you see NAM1 driving private jets in Ghana? Did you see the states and state institutions rolling red carpets for him to walk on like they did for him when he went to Kumasi? Did you see NAM1 splashing cash all around the country like we've seen him under this government? No. You see, celebrity endorsement of a particular business or product has a positive correlation with the fortunes of that business. We all recall how in 2009, advertising experts revealed that Barack Obama's public declaration of affection for his BlackBerry phone indirectly provided BlackBerry with free publicity worth £33 million. Barack Obama never uttered a word about his phone. He only showed his phone in public, exhibited it and all that. Then advertising agents came out in the United States of America, told us that that provided BlackBerry with free publicity worth more than £33 million. So President Akufo Addo and his government officials need not or didn't have to tell Ghanaians expressly that go and put your monies or invest with Men's Gold. No. The fact is that many of the grieving customers of Men's Gold invested in the company because of the open endorsement of NAM1 and Men's Gold by the Akufo Addo government. They trusted Men's Gold because they trusted the president and his appointees. Therefore, government cannot absolve itself from responsibility in this matter. And that closes the first leg of our statement. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like at this stage to address the closure of Men's Gold and government's irresponsible conduct in the aftermath. This is what is even, sad in this whole discussion. First, from the media. How did this government close down the activities of Men's Gold? And how has it managed the aftermath thereof? Did they have the investment of the customers in mind? Or their main preoccupation was to offer NAM1 safe passage to diffuse and dissipate his wealth so that customers cannot trace such wealth even when they secure court judgments to recover their losses? We have been told that the object of government's intervention was to protect the customers, Inobiso, and their investments. But before the closure of the company, we would want to ask, did the government conduct an audit of the assets and liabilities of Men's Gold? Did government track the accounts and assets of the company, its directors and shareholders, both locally and internationally, to decide on how to retrieve the investments of customers? Ladies and gentlemen, this government's lack of diligence and foresight was manifestly clear in the absence of a roadmap to help customers get their monies back. The untidy approach adopted by government contradicts the purpose and essence of government's intervention and has only aggravated and worsened the plight of the many suffering clients of Men's Gold. Ladies and gentlemen, government's posturing in the aftermath of the closure of Men's Gold is even more bizarre and confirms its complicity in this whole scam. It reveals government's obscene determination to aid the perpetrators of this scam to get off the hook. Is it not intriguing that 4 months after the shutdown of Men's Gold, no director, no shareholder, no member of management has been arrested and put under strict surveillance by the state? Until yesterday, no effort had been made by government to freeze the accounts of NAM1 and Men's Gold. Till date, ladies and gentlemen, none of his assets and that of Men's Gold, including that of his accomplices, have been confiscated by government. Within the last 3 months, and despite several warnings by staff of Men's Gold, government has sat aloof and allowed directors, shareholders, and management members to sell assets of the company, with some absconding from the country with their loot. And that is a fact, because on the night of 27th December 2018, the wife of NAM1 went to her shop at East Legon with a cargo. People saw her offloading, actually packing all her jewelry in her shop into this cargo. They did that all through the night. Some of the people in that locality have called us and have told us that they actually called the police and our security agencies and reported the matter to them. But none of them responded. They sat aloof and allowed the woman to pack her jewelry and precious stuff from the shops. Today, when you go there, the shop is empty. Other companies of NAM1, like Xylophone Media, are still operating in this country whilst government looks on unconcerned. Liquidation processes haven't been commenced against Men's Gold, despite the state being fully clothed with the power and authority under the law to do so. If this does not smack of sheer dereliction of duty and complicity on the part of government, then what else is it? And when we talk about the fact that government has a responsibility to liquidate Men's Gold, people say that, oh, that is not true. Government says that, oh, this is a civil matter. It is the responsibilities of the customers themselves to go to court and to seek justice, to retrieve the monies themselves, their monies themselves. That is very reckless and irresponsible. My brother, can you put Act 180? If you look at the Body Corporates Official Liquidation Act of Ghana, Act 180 of 1963, look at Section 1C and you look at the mode for official winding up, it is clear that one of the ways of dissolving or winding up a company is by a petition to the courts. Bring it to Section 1C. Go up, Section 1C. It is there. I want the media to see it so that they know that we are not making this up. 1C. Oh. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. No, this is the IOCO Act, not 804. Get me the Body Corporates Act, 180, and then we can refer to that later. So, if you look at the law, it is clear. We will later come to the IOCO Act and assess the decisions which have been taken or the conduct of IOCO in this whole matter. Ladies and gentlemen, liquidation processes, I repeat, having been commenced against Men's Gold, despite the state being fully clothed with the power and authority under the law to do so. If this does not smack of shared dereliction of duty and complicity on the part of government, then what else is it? Of course, we are fully aware, ladies and gentlemen, I need your attention, of some secret payments made to government appointees and their cronies who equally invested in Men's Gold by top management members of the company. This has been going on the blind side of the innocent customers of Men's Gold for some time now. And this fact is strongly corroborated by senior staff members of Men's Gold in a recent press statement. Once again, these secret payments speak loudly about a government that cares only about its family and friends and care less about the ordinary Ghanaian. Now, if I can just point you to Section 1C. Section 1C. No, go up before I move on. Okay, go to 4C. 4C, come down. I don't know why you're having it. Most of winding up, the official winding up of a company may be commenced by, look at C, a petition to the court. Now go to 4. Section 4. Go to 4. Go down again. Good. 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 Procedure on petition to courts. Now look at 1. The registrar or any person who is a creditor, A, creditor of the company, B, a member or a contributor, C, the Attorney General. The Attorney General, but only on the ground specified in paragraph C of subsection 2 of this section. Look at paragraph 2. It says the court may order the official winding up of a company on such a petition where, C, the business or objects of the company are unlawful, or the company is operated for an illegal purpose, or the business being carried on by the company is not authorized by its regulations. So in the face of this law, how can government say that this is a civil matter? This is the law. And these are the laws that the president has sworn to uphold. Again, I spoke about the confiscation of assets. Now, can you open Act 804 before I go to the concluding part? Now, ladies and gentlemen, whilst he's doing that, let me proceed. Government's inertia. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the NDC is aware of the real reason behind government's inertia in this whole Men's Gold matter. According to our impeachable sources at Men's Gold, NAM1 sponsored the MPP and President Akufo-Addo's 2016 election campaign with a gargantuan sum of money, hence his strong ties with government. NAM1's amorous affair with the Akufo-Addo government is the only explanation as to how state security aided him to abscond from our jurisdiction and continues to treat him and his accomplices with kid gloves. Now, the purported arrest of NAM1 and his aided escape from Ghana Friends from the media, we are convinced beyond a shadow of doubt that #1 was aided by government and our security agencies to flee this country. We are convinced. We are convinced beyond a shadow of doubt. We are told by government that #1 was arrested by Yoko somewhere August 2018. Is that not the case? We are also told by the same government that #1 jumped bail in September 2018, about 3 to 4 months ago. We are again told that when he was arrested in August, he was given a self-recognizance bail. Ladies and gentlemen, certain questions beg for urgent answers, and we hope President Akufo Addo will provide urgent answers, at least through his lying Minister of Information, Kojo Oponkroma. #1, why was #1 granted self-recognizance bail, given the seriousness and the magnitude of this case? #2, knowing that #1 was a flight risk, equipped with a private aircraft, why was his passport and traveling documents not seized by Yoko in line with their standard practice? We're in this country, and some of our cobras, specifically Kojo Chumbuafo, Dr. Puni, and a few others were invited by Yoko over some flimsy, excuses, from flimsy reasons. Immediately they went to Yoko, their passports and traveling documents were seized. In fact, in the case of Kojo Oponkroma, his case involves unaccountable impress. Kojo Chumbuafo. His case involves an issue of unaccountable impress of just $3,000. And even in that matter, his passports and traveling documents were seized by Yoko. But in this matter involving more than $200 million, involving thousands of citizens, the life savings of thousands of Ghanaian citizens, and perhaps millions of livelihoods, government decided to give him self-recognizance bail. Again, why was he not put under strict surveillance by our security agencies? What kind of security apparatus is our president superintendent over in this country? How was he able to slip out of this country without the knowledge of our security agencies? We know that #1 absconded from Ghana in September 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, that is about 3 months ago. Until the Kumasi demonstration by customers of men's good, what had government done to rearrest him? The man absconded 3 to 4 months ago. What had government done to rearrest him? Why did they have to take the nephew of the president, Ghana's de facto Prime Minister Gabi Ochredakon, to inform the nation and giving customers of men's good on his Facebook wall that #1 has absconded from this country? Is he the PRO of Yoko? See, ladies and gentlemen, the more questions the NDC poses, the more glaring government's role in aiding and abetting the escape of #1 becomes. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, as pressure continued to mount on government to take responsibility, a patently defective arrest warrant was issued by government for the arrest of #1. We later found out that #1 had been arrested in Dubai as far back as 7th December 2018 and was in police custody in Dubai. What this means is that at the time the defective arrest warrant was issued, #1 was already in police custody in Dubai. Can you imagine this embarrassment? We issued an arrest warrant and activated Interpol in 197 countries to look for a fugitive, a supposed fugitive who was already languishing in Dubai. This can only happen under Akufo Addo's government. But this is the interesting part, ladies and gentlemen. Surprisingly, it took the media to break this news, despite the existence of a Ghanaian mission in Dubai, which is supervised by none other than the father-in-law of the vice president, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Samira's father is Ghana's ambassador to the UAE. How come government didn't know about this? How come Interpol was activated to look for this fugitive who has committed a crime of gargantuan proportions against suffering Ghanaians when he was already in police custody in the Emirates? This whole episode is beginning to look like a comical Hollywood movie directed by cousin of the president, nephew of the president, Gabi Ochredako. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghanaians and Men's Gold customers are not interested in these conflicting accounts and theatricals. The bottom line is that government must take responsibility in this matter and ensure that Men's Gold customers are paid their monies, simple and short. Now, before we conclude, ladies and gentlemen, my brother, can we look at section 2 of Act 804, the Yoko Act? Section 2. Just go up. Section 2 of the Yoko Act. I want the media to see this for themselves. Section 2. Because I want you to know the objects of Yoko. By law, the objects of Yoko is to detect and prevent organized economic crimes. And number 2, to facilitate the confiscation of proceeds of economic crimes. It is there, black and white, section 2 of the Yoko Act of 2010, Act 804. It is there. It is there. The objects of the office. The object is to detect and prevent the commission of organized crimes and also to facilitate the confiscation of proceeds of economic crimes. Section 2, it is there. The objects of the office are to A, prevent and detect organized crime, and B, generally to facilitate the confiscation of the proceeds of crime. And look at the powers we have given them. As section 33, my brother, move to section 33, because we are concluding. We want to let Ghanaians know the kind of irresponsible, the kind of reckless government that we have in this country. Section 33, freezing of property. The Director General of Yoko has been given powers that not even the President of Ghana has. Look, where the Executive Director considers that freezing of property is necessary, where he considers that the freezing of property is necessary to facilitate an investigation or trial, the Executive Director may in writing direct the freezing of the property of a person or entity being investigated, or B, the Executive Director, or B, specified property held by a person or entity other than the person or entity being investigated or tried. And then it is there. So you see, you've seen that for yourself. What is the point we are trying to make here, ladies and gentlemen? The point we are trying to make here is that we have clothed Yoko with enormous powers. And we all, including customers of Men's Gold, pay the states. We pay taxes to the states to be used to finance Yoko to protect us. This is their responsibility towards us all, including the customers of Men's Gold. We've given them powers to freeze assets even without a court order. If you look at the law, they can freeze and they are only required by law to go to court after 14 days. And yet, Yoko didn't see the need to freeze the assets of NAM1, to freeze the assets of Men's Gold, its shareholders, directors, management members. Till date, even other companies of NAM1, like Xylophone Media, are still operating in this country. Now, to the DKM principle. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, contrary to the claims by government that there is a difference between the DKM matter and the present Men's Gold issue, because whereas, according to them, DKM was licensed by the Bank of Ghana, Men's Gold was not licensed by the Bank of Ghana, and neither was it licensed by SEC. Ladies and gentlemen, that distinction only exists in the minds of the MPP. It is a figment of their own imagination. Because in truth, there is no material distinction between the DKM matter and this present Men's Gold issue. Government position that it has no responsibility to men's gold customers is hypocritical and smacks of double standards. Just as DKM was licensed by the Bank of Ghana, men's gold was also registered by the Registrar General and licensed by the Minerals Commission of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana is a state institution. The Minerals Commission of Ghana is also a state institution. What is the difference between this issue and the DKM matter? Ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm making is this. Just as DKM was licensed by the Bank of Ghana, men's gold was also registered by the Registrar General and licensed by the Minerals Commission of Ghana. Both cases concern two companies registered and duly licensed by state institutions. Companies who paid their taxes and who, in one way or the other, violated the conditions of their license. If you look at the DKM matter and this matter, that is it. So on all fours, the two issues are the same. The Akufo Addo government, ladies and gentlemen, must therefore be consistent and apply the same position they took on the DKM matter to this men's gold issue. In line with the DKM principle established by them in 2016 whilst in opposition, government must take responsibility and retrieve the monies of men's gold customers for them or pay same to them. Now, friends for the media, let's even assume, without admitting, that the argument being put forth by government is true, that men's gold was not registered and licensed by state institutions to do what they were doing. The question the argument we are putting forth is that in any case, regulatory bodies do not regulate companies who are only registered under them. They register activities which fall under their jurisdiction. That is the essence of regulation. Either than that, why did the Bank of Ghana issue a statement in this matter? Why the SEC issue a statement in this matter? Because it is their duty to regulate activities. And they felt that the activities of men's gold, specifically the illegal capital market activities of men's gold, with regards to SEC, and with regards to the Bank of Ghana, the illegal deposit-taking activities of men's gold fell under their jurisdiction. That is why they have intervened in this matter. And so the argument that, oh, because the company was not registered by the Bank of Ghana has no responsibility, is lame. That argument is a baseless and useless argument. Because what government is saying in effect is that somebody, say, engage in the pharmaceutical industry, can bring into this country fake drugs, sell these fake drugs to innocent citizens. And when the matter is reported to the attention of government will say, oh, this company was not registered with the Food and Drugs Authority. We have not given them license. So citizens are on their own. That is what government is saying. So it will therefore mean, like my General Secretary was telling me days ago, that now if you want to escape liability in this country, and you want to escape the remit of the law, make sure that you don't register with the Bank of Ghana and SEC. Defraud Ghanaians, and government will say, because you were not registered with us, it is a civil matter. That is how irresponsible, insensitive, clueless, and callous this Akufo Addo government is. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, let me make this point. God is love. God is love. They conveniently mention DKM, and they leave God is love, Justa Motors, and all the other, agencies out. God is love was not licensed by the Bank of Ghana, like DKM. Justa Motors was not also licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Yet, in all these cases, the MPP was in opposition said that it was the responsibility of government to refund the monies of the victims. They told us that we should consider this issue as a national disaster. Were we not in this country when the MPP made those arguments? That we should consider those scandals as national disasters and intervene as a government, because government has the ultimate responsibility of protecting its citizens, including guaranteeing their economic rights. What has changed? Let's even grant them that men's gold was not registered. What God is love registered. You see, double talk and lies, like I said, like we have always said, are in the DNA of the MPP, and they cannot stop. Ladies and gentlemen, now to the way forward. The Men's Gold saga is a more grievous and serious matter than the Akufo Addo government has reduced it to. It is perhaps the greatest financial calamity ever befallen the Ghanaian people. It is a volatile matter which borders on the lifetime savings of thousands of Ghanaian citizens and can degenerate into something ugly if not properly handled. We insist that government has a constitutional duty to protect its citizens and safeguard their interests, including their economic rights. The state is clothed with enough power and resources to retrieve the monies of Men's Gold customers and to compensate them. This responsibility must not be abdicated as if government is a mere passive observer in this whole debacle. Ladies and gentlemen, President Akufo Addo has been part of this problem and must be part of the solution. I repeat, President Akufo Addo has been part of this problem, hence must be part of the solution. As a matter of urgency, government must take steps and ensure that Men's Gold customers are paid their monies. We learned late yesterday that Yoko had belatedly frozen the accounts of NAM1 and the assets of Nana Appiah Mensah, and we have been told that Yoko will be going after his access in the coming days. Ladies and gentlemen, these are sad times for Ghana. Because, you see, this begs the question as to why Yoko, or as to what Yoko has been doing all this while, as the matter reached on. We submit that Yoko is only acting after NAM1 horses, if not elephants, have left the stable. Because this matter clearly amounts to closing the stable after the horse has bolted. NAM1's horses, or in this case elephants, have left the stable. And suddenly, the Director General of Yoko has discovered his powers under the law. You have allowed the man to abscond for the past 3 to 4 months, giving them time, enough time for them to get away with their loot and to insult us further. President Akufo Addo has not given this man a sack. This man is still at post and issuing statements telling Ghanaians that, oh, we are frozen assets and we'll be going after his assets. This man should have been sacked by now if government was not complicit in this matter. But he's still at post because the president himself is what? Complicit. Contrasting this willfully lazy approach of Yoko to the speed and dispatch with which they have frozen the accounts of other Ghanaians, we wish to ask why Yoko did not take swift action to freeze the accounts and the assets of NAM1 until now. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes little effort, very little effort, to decipher that the handling of this matter has been done in a way as to allow Nana Appiah Mensah and his accomplices to have safe passage from Ghana and have enough time to move their assets and money out of the jurisdiction beyond the reach of Ghanaian authorities and customers of Men's Gold. This is a smoking gun, showing clear governmental complicity in the biggest haste to hit the country in its recent history. Ghanaians cannot be deceived anymore. Mr. President, Ghanaians cannot be deceived anymore by these gimmicks. Ghanaians are wide awake. Therefore, we demand definite action from government, not only to bring Nana Appiah Mensah and his accomplices to book, but to restore the losses of Men's Gold customers as a matter of urgency. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the press, for honoring our invitation. And may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you. How many cases here? Live. Ladies and gentlemen, we've taken a lot of your time, but I think that you will agree with us that it was worth it. And the presence of our General Secretary here should let you know the seriousness that the NDC attaches to this issue. And I need to indicate at this stage that this program is being aired on live. It's being aired live, sorry, on GH1, Joy News, Asempa FM, Radio Gold, Radio XYZ.